helmet now and it seems to be fine.
In A6, Skogberger and Van Grienen were giving it horns, but front-wheel drive makes it difficult in the wet stuff. Cronje and Birkin seem to be coping with the conditions more effectively. Craig Trott and Nigel Hicks were also pushing hard. But still leading the A6 pack were Lawrence and Jacobs in their trusty Conquest, enjoying a 37-second advantage over Trott Hicks, with Cronje a mere 4 seconds further back. As the second day of the Subaru Cape Rally continued, soaking rain only made the stage conditions worse for drivers, better for spectators.
In this first stage this morning, very slippery towards the end, and a few guys will have problems there, I'm sure.
The rain was now really pelting down, and the rally's longest stage lay ahead.
This is the one, everyone's on wets now, you know, it's raining, slippery. If you get a flat in here, you know, that's 3-4 minutes gone, so you got to do it right.
They call it Sandkloof, but you can be sure that it was all mud and no sand on this very long 46-kilometer stage. It promised to be a humdinger. Pfeiffer's Lancer Evo 9 became a tail-happy beast in these conditions. The Mitsubishi driver has shown good promise this year, but his run of bad luck continued, forcing him to retire on stage 8. The Cape has the most loyal and enthusiastic spectators in the country. They came out to see action, and Rocky Reinicker provided lots of reasons to cheer with his flamboyant style. Lola and Megan Verlaak were having a good run in their Subaru despite several spins. A determined Ryan was keeping his title hopes very much alive. For the Bosel-sponsored driver, it was all about survival of the fittest.
There was one section at 30 kilometers on the last stage. We were warned that the car zero got stuck there, and so we hit it. We decided to hit it flat out. So we luckily got through it, and then there's another patch after that. So you hit it correct, hit another one correct, and just hope you're more or less on the road. It was crazy.
Fernando Rueda has a reputation for being spectacular, and in the wet, that was certainly the case. The cockpit became a very, very busy place.
So many times that you don't know if you're in control, if the car is in control, if the ground is in control. It really is, it's just, you need to be very, very careful. Try and be as steady as you can. And even then, it's, you know, driving at 8/10 is like driving 12/10 on the drive, because it's just, you don't know. You get to a point that it looks good. As you hit the brake, there is just nothing. Or even on the straight, sometimes as soon as you hit a paddle, it starts to go. And in fifth gear, when you start doing this, and the poles, and the trees, and the only way to stay is to keep it on. If you lift, you die.
The downhill sections were particularly tricky, as Gemmel's gingerly approach demonstrates. The slippery slopes made braking nigh impossible. Compared to Rueda, Gemmel looked surprisingly cautious, but the times told the real story. Gemmell was now 2 minutes 21 seconds ahead of Rueda, with Ryan another 48 seconds further back.
This time we took it easy. This was 46 Ks, like I said earlier. Any problems there, you're just about out of it. So we took it easy. A lot of water in this one. I'm sure a few guys have picked up problems. There was like 300 meters at a time of just water. You know, a little bit of water in the wrong place, you're in trouble.
In wet and slippery conditions, a more cautious approach can often pay handsome dividends. Rueda looked faster and spectacular, but if you compare the in-car footage, you'll see far less steering input from Gemmell, while Fernando is constantly correcting and overcorrecting as he fights the car. Gemmell was calmer, cleaner, and quicker. However, the crowds much prefer the spectacular approach. The expected N3 challenge of Mohamed Musa and John Dearlove came to naught after a stage 1 puncture, while a 1-minute penalty later tumbled them further down the order. Chris de Wit and Patrick Yende were consistently among the N3 leaders and on their way to buttoning up another class championship. Rodney Visagie and Arno Lachranzi were also in the thick of the N3 fray, but would later succumb to gearbox problems. The Johannesburg-based driver was involved in a close tussle with de Wit and Roos for much of the event, and will be disappointed to have been sidelined with only 2 stages to go. Roos and Fourie, however, were the class of the field in their Sasol Toyota Runex, even if their lead at the end of this stage was a very slim single second ahead of Visagie, with de Wit another 10 seconds behind at this point. Out on the stages, it wasn't getting any drier. One of the heartbreak stories of the Subaru Cape Rally was that of Etienne Lawrence, who came to the Cape lying second in the championship.
We wanted a clean one now. That would have pushed up, right up in between the A7s, but I think the A7s are going to beat us now. Another 2 minutes gone. Misfire, I don't know, maybe coil something. It was before we hit the water, so it can't be water, but it's a combination. On some places I couldn't even pull off, so yeah, bad, hectic stage.
A 5-minute penalty and lots of problems didn't dampen Habig's spirit, however. The KZN rally ace was still out there giving it all, despite losing the front brakes. Just how hard he was trying was evident at the rear of the Polo.
Doesn't stop that well in the mud with the handbrakes. I think we got too close to a fence somewhere along the line. 1K into the 46 Ks we lost the front brakes. I think a stone knocked the pipe off. So we only had the handbrake to stop with, and then halfway through we went through another water splash, and I think we got damage on the crank sensor again. So yeah, it was not a good stage.
Serge was going like a train, but his sizable lead was cut to just seconds by a puncture.
We're back down to 13 seconds. This long stage we had a puncture towards the end, so we lost a bit of time there, so now it's a fight again. But we'll see the next 2 weeks. Still got 2 stages, so try and keep it going.
Despite the best preparation, staying on the road is sometimes a matter of luck.
You think you're going to land on the road, but you're more off the road than on the road, you know. But anyway, lucky about 4-wheel drive. That's, I would love a 2-wheel drive today.
Fecken's polo had also been through the wars as deep troughs of water took their toll. Not that Fecken was lifting off. Nor was his the only damaged car.
There's big water splashes and they're quite long, so you really have to hit them hard, otherwise you'd probably get stuck. So we hit them flat out and it does a lot of damage to the Tupperware.
The calmest of them all was champion-elect Enzo Kuhn. Clearly focused on keeping it together, Enzo made it look all too easy, but the Polo was telling a different story.
Lost some body panels, you know, they just fly off as you hit the water at that speed. I mean, there's some serious forces. You can feel them coming through the steering wheel and just trying to rip those wheels off, but we survived it. Well done on the car. Yeah, it was very, very, very wet in there. You know, we had like a couple of 100 meters of standing water, and sometimes it was quite tricky because the water was only on the one path of the one wheel. So when you hit the water in fifth gear on the right hand wheel, it pulls the car into the water and then, you know, puts you on a little Jeep track completely sideways. So it was quite interesting. And but really deep trenches as well, you know, where the water comes over the bonnet and you lose visibility, and no, testing conditions.
With the rain still pelting down and the water getting deeper, anything could still happen. Cape Rally's second day was a drenched affair, but the spectators never stopped smiling. Stage 9 was a 26-kilometer affair, and not surprisingly again promised wet, slippery